Perfect.
So I want to welcome Jana Colonia. She is from Wales, Wisconsin, and she has an amazing testimony with her story. When we hear stories like this, it reminds us again as to why we do what we do. She had MS, and I'm not going to take any of her thunder away, but Janet, if you'll just fill us in with what you've been through, what it's been like, and what you've done, and how you're doing. So take it away, girl. There you
All
are.
right.
Okay, cool.
All right. Hi, everybody. Sorry I was a little late. Just some things going on in the family. I just needed to take a breath. I'm sure you can all relate throughout those days. But I'm really happy to be here with you tonight to share my story, my Shaklee story. I'm sure everybody has their own Shaklee story, so I appreciate you being willing to listen to mine, and I hope you find it helpful and maybe you'll use what I tell you tonight to help someone else. Um, so I was diagnosed with MS. Gosh, it's been over 30 years. I was 23. I'm 57. Do the math. I don't keep count anymore, but I was newly married, so it was scary. I was a young woman, and I went through 5 different doctors before I was diagnosed. But nothing at that time was really offered to me, just pretty much gave me a book. And at that time, it was really unbelievable that they wanted you not to exercise and do all the things that I knew instinctively I had to do anyway. So it kind of propelled me on a journey of alternative treatments because I didn't see anything else available. So I had to kind of figure it out on my own. And Shaklee was part of that journey. I didn't find it until like 5 years after I was diagnosed. No, it's longer than that. So it was 3 years after our son was born. So he was 3. So it must have been like 8 years after I was diagnosed. I had already kind of moved into becoming a vegetarian. I started exercising regularly. I read everything I could, which wasn't a whole lot back then, but enough to know that I was on the right path, that my focus was building health rather than curing my disease. So then I was introduced to Shaklee, and it just kind of blew my mind. It opened my eyes, and it took my life in a whole different direction because supplements and vitamins, like, what's that? I took vitamins, but didn't really do anything. And what kept me even open to doing it was, well, if you don't feel better in 30 days, you can get your money back. So tell people that because it worked for me. And so that's why I tried it, because I really didn't expect to feel any different. And all I did was start on the Vitaly back then. And remember the old instant protein that tasted like, I loved it. But it didn't taste really good, but I loved it because of how I felt. I felt better. I felt better than I ever did in like 2 days. Like that, it only took 2 days. And I was like, oh my God, like my body was that deficient of nutrition, even though I was, switched over to being a vegetarian. It really was apparent to me that I wasn't getting enough of what my body needed to heal with just food alone. So then when I decided I wanted to do the business, I got hooked up with Nina. And then we went from there. I mean, I devoured anything I could as far as information. That's why I love Shaklee too, because it was really about educating people. It wasn't just, here, take this, but it was like, here, we have this tape program, and here, you can come to this meeting. And I just went to every meeting, and I listened to everything I could because I wanted to learn. I was hungry. I was on a mission, right, to heal my body. So that's what I loved about Shaklee. And then the people I met were so warm and welcoming. And I met Nina, and it just felt like home, like another family. So all those things propelled me, and I learned so much about health from everybody in Shaklee and their own stories, but also all the professional, like the doctors and the speakers that had, a background in health and nutrition. Because, think back at that time, there wasn't the internet. And so that was the best way to get information. Now the internet is great, but there's a lot of misinformation out there, and anybody can put anything out there. So now I work as a yoga therapist and a health coach. So I'm helping other people, not in ways that Shaklee just fits in there really well. So I introduce my clients if they're open to hearing about Shaklee, and they're usually they already trust me and have a relationship, so they're really ready to, especially if they've made the investment to work with me. They're open to what I have to say about nutrition, and especially supplements, because there is so much information out there, and they're really just confused, because instead of it being a lack of information of what I had, there's like so much, and it's always conflicting from one day to the next. They can tell you the opposite of what you just heard the day before, right? Or you can read something that totally says the opposite of what you just read the day before. So that people, to me, that I work with are just really confused. So they need guidance, they need education, they're looking for it. If they're not getting it from us, from people in the the Shaklee world, they're getting it from someone else, and maybe they aren't getting the health results that they could if they would even know about Shaklee. And yes, there are people that don't know about Shaklee. Most of my customers or clients don't know about Shaklee, or my students, or they've heard about it, or yeah, my mom used to do that. Like, and all they know is their mom used to do that. So it's kind of funny, but they're always open to hearing about it. And then you'll find those people that were like me, that don't need a lot of coaching, that they're gonna just start searching and start looking at the website and start asking you questions, and those are the people that you want to work with, right? Because I call them green light people.
Janet, I would like to ask you a few questions, though, going back to your personal health story.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't really tell how.
No, you really didn't. You did protein and Vital A, and then all of a sudden you got big. So in that story, would you also please share with us your Vivek story after you get to that point of it?
Okay, so when I was diagnosed, I was paralyzed on my left side. Slowly throughout one day, I just started losing function, and went through 5 different doctors. Some of them told me, "Oh, you're just making that up." I literally had a doctor tell me that. So after I got the diagnosis, so that was the state of my body, and they gave me steroids, massive steroids, IV, to get me to a place where I could function. And then after that, they told me, "Well, you have MS." And then I went on my search, because they really didn't offer me anything. So then it was just trying to get healthy enough to have more of a life, because my life was just going to work, coming home, taking care of my son, and going to bed. Not much of a life with my husband or anything, because I just didn't have that energy. It took all the energy I could just to be a mom and go to work and take care of him, and make the dinner and do all that stuff we all need to do. So I was searching, like I wasn't having a life. I was existing. people on the outside wouldn't probably have noticed that I had MS because I was functioning again and moving my body and, and going through life, but I wasn't enjoying much of anything that I was doing because everything took a lot of effort. So I don't know, is that helpful
Well,
enough?
and your protein and Vital A, and so you started getting better, and then what happened? Is that all you took yet from then on?
Oh no, well then, you learn more and then I should take that and then I should take that. So I learned that the lecithin, I don't remember what we had back before Omega Guard, but whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Those omega-3 fatty acids, all of those were very important. Vitamin E, I learned, very important. What else did I take? I mean, I take everything. I mean,
Yeah.
you learn. I learned through the tapes. I learned through going to meetings, and then I learned through trying and seeing what my body responded to. And now I really understand with working with people, and there's no cookie cutter plan. Like, you have MS, take these supplements. It just doesn't work that way. We're all individual, even if we have the same diagnosis. It doesn't mean we necessarily are going to take the same supplements because our lifestyle is different. How we deal with stress is different.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did you take vitamin D?
We did.
Vitamin D. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
when they came out.
And which protein?
When I started on, it was the old instant protein. So whatever protein they have along the way, now I take them all. I mean, I take the instant protein, I take the energizing soy protein and the Life Shake. I mix and match. It's all good.
Okay, thank you.
And I take the soy. I just deal better. My body likes the soy protein versus the plant protein. I've tried the plant protein. I don't care for the taste, and I don't feel the same on it.
Agreed.
It's not that I can't mix them, but I can't go on straight plant protein. It just doesn't work for me.
Okay.
So, Janet, share your story. What happened when you took Vivix? Do you remember the dramatic?
Oh, yeah, that's a good story. See, you know more stories about me than I do. You should just tell my story. Yeah, when they came out with Vivix, at the time I was a runner. I got back to running, so that was something that was cool that happened after I got on the Shaklee supplements.
8 miles a day.
I used to run 8 to 10 miles every single day, even the weekends. I was kind of an addict, but I knew that my body enjoyed it and my body needed it. I probably didn't have to run as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really run now. That's not what my body wants to do now. But so I was a runner, and my stepson was up visiting from Florida. So he's not here all the time. He wasn't here all the time, but I have a treadmill downstairs and I was running on it. And I had probably been on Vivix. It wasn't long after the convention that it came out, whatever year that came out. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I was taking the Vivix, and I came up from running downstairs, and he's like, "What happened to you? You're running smoother. You're not like clumping. You used to have this clump." Because I did, because I still have a residual in my left side that I couldn't really. I didn't have the same stride. It was kind of like a clump, like a thump. They used to call me Thumper. Running downstairs, they had this big thump. And I said, "Oh yeah," I said, I thought I was running better too, but I didn't want to say anything, because I started taking this Vivix, the new supplement. And he's like, "Oh well, yeah, I noticed you're not clumping and thumping like you normally do." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, see, it works."
So she was clumper for a while, and then she got away from that because of the Vivix. So And the other thing that I'm going to share that you may have forgot as well is she used to have, I don't remember which side of her face,
Oh, the left side, yeah.
the left side of her face drooped. But as soon as that she used the Vivix for a period of time, that went away. The first time I saw her after that, I was like, wow, Janet, your face looks different. So it changed that as well with the Vivix.
Yeah.
And you'd been on supplements for quite a while by then, correct?
Yeah, so since it's got to be 28 years.
Yeah. And I don't remember what year we got the Vivix in, but I think it was, what, 8 or 9?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, and I've been on that ever since it came out.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Again, like she said, go back and start at cellular level. Everybody's body is a little different, but you all start with the basics and then go from there. Does anybody else have any questions for Janet? No? Okay.
It's just amazing what these products do when you swallow them. I mean, you can't not get results. Man, I started out 40 whatever years ago, and protein Vitally Herbalax. And when I did, the headache started going away because I was swallowing the protein. I was swallowing, that kind of thing. And it made such a difference. And so anyhow, you just can't encourage people enough. Just swallow the products.
Exactly.
Let them do the work. And it works.
Janet, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How much Vivix do you take daily? Do you a teaspoon or do you take more?
I just take the Life Strip now. So the Vivix, the 2 gel caps are in the Life Strip.
Okay. And that's what you
Yeah,
were
I take
doing?
the other supplements outside of the Life Strip, but yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Hmm.
Thanks.
Do
Awesome.
you have any symptoms now? Much that
Not
are,
really. I would say I'm the healthiest now than I've ever been.
you had
Especially
what?
I don't work my horrible corporate job that I had for a long time in computers. So stress has such a big impact, and while we're in the middle of it, we really don't understand it. We don't really allow ourselves to feel how badly we do feel. Everybody else can see it. So, but I had to hit rock bottom. So that's a whole other story. But
I have a question.
yeah, the supplement saved me again there. So
Yeah. Go ahead, PJ.
I have a question, Janet. A couple questions. When you were younger, did you have any kind of really heavy toxic exposure? And also, in talking about toxins, have you changed out the cleaners in your home and your personal care products to Shaklee?
I don't remember anything toxic exposure, no. And that was one of the first things that I remember when I did the tape program. That's what I got. I got on the cleaners, and that was really for my son at the time because he had really sensitive skin, and that kind of came from me. I had that as well, so we switched out all the cleaners. That was a fun experiment, just switching off cleaners and seeing how cool and well they worked. And but yeah, I did that right away. That was one of the first things before getting on more of the supplements, was switching out the cleaners and the laundry products. And yeah, that was just, it just seemed like, why wouldn't I do that? As you learn about it, it's like, it makes so much sense. Like, why wouldn't I use something that's healthier and something that's cheaper and that saves the planet? And yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yes, Janet uses the skincare. She uses everything, Shaklee. She's been a director for how many years now?
Long time, longer than I want.
So,
That's okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I read some other statistic. It's like in other countries in the world, they spend 20% of their money on food, on good nutrition. In America, we spend 10%. we just don't value our health the way other countries and other people do. Maybe we haven't learned that. But I learned it the hard way from losing my health. But, you know, we don't have to do that.
Right.
We value our health.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Janet. I appreciate that. It's amazing. I think most of us on here, well, those of us who've been here for a while, if we think about what would we be like if we didn't have the supplements. I shudder to think that often. And, you know, even just sitting here with a broken foot right now, I'm going to prove the doctor that it's not going to take me that long to heal because I'm going to swallow a lot. So anyways, okay. Thank you very much, Janet. And our next testimonial is going to be Courtney, Linda, or Jay? Let me unmute you. You're muted.
There we go. Okay. Well, thank you, Janet. I learned a lot. It's very helpful. And it's always really good to be reminded, even what Marian said, all you have to do is swallow the stuff and it will do its work. I like that line. Marian wanted me to just share my weight loss testimony. And as you know, I've always been over 300 pounds. Most of you have known that for as long as you've known me. Oh, wait. No, that's not right. The closest that I've ever been to being 300 pounds was just a few years back, and then it wasn't anywhere near that. But when I was younger, when my mom would take me to Penny's, there was a period in my life when whenever we had to buy pants, we had to go to the Husky section. I don't know if anybody is old enough to know that there even was such a thing, but I went to the Husky section. But it really didn't last all that long. Through high school and in college, I really wasn't overweight and was active and feeling fine. After a number of years of wonderful cooking from somebody whose maiden name was Cook, it just seemed that I came to the point, and this coincided basically with our involvement in Shaklee, that I had the need to just slowly, year upon year, kind of get a little bit larger pair of pants or a little bit bigger belt. And it was feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And so I would restrict my diet and have an apple for lunch and things like that. And it just didn't really seem to change. So after Linda's amazing turnaround with her health, we had, as we still do, the turnaround option for your weight. And I decided, back then it was called Cinch, and I decided to just take on the program. And I'm going to just fast forward and use something that's very important to me. And Renee knows that if I sit down, well, many of you know, if I sit down with any new person, I will typically have a catalog in hand and tell them about Shaklee using the prop of the catalog. And I will be within the first 2 minutes going straight to the back where there's those gray pages that have clinical research and also the listings of the studies. So when I was asked to just kind of share my weight loss story, I thought, perfect way to let you guys know how it happened and what was important was to share this. And in the back of our catalog, even today, under weight management, the subject is Shaklee 180 weight loss program. The clinical study was Shaklee 180 12-week safety and efficacy pilot study. So this pilot study was designed to determine changes in weight loss and anthropometric measurements, body measurements, and estimates of body composition in an uncontrolled 12-week trial with 27 moderately overweight but otherwise healthy men and women. I would say I fell into that category. Subjects were instructed to consume 2 Shaklee 180 beverage shakes, 3 Shaklee 180 dietary supplement tablets, which we know as the metabolic boost, and 1 Shaklee 180 nutrition bar and a healthy meal and or snack daily. So that's what's a part of the turnaround kit. 18 participants completed the 12-week trial, of which 14 were fully compliant. And if I had been in the trial, I would have been one of the 14 fully compliant. Data from the 14 participants show that subjects lost an average of 15.4 pounds, and that's exactly what I did in the same length of time as the study is listed here in the back of the catalog, and maintained their fat-free mass based on estimates from skin fold caliper measurements. I didn't do that. Together, these data suggest that weight loss was derived primarily from body fat and that fat-free mass was preserved. And you've probably heard this from other people who have talked about weight loss and maybe observed it in many others. Our weight loss product is not just about weight, but it's also about inches. And that was my experience as well. The pants, the need to buy larger pants went away because I really did shrink my waist size. The waist and hip measurements were reduced by 4.1 and 2.6 inches respectively, which was a significant reduction in waist to hip ratio, a predictor of cardiovascular disease. In addition, favorable changes were observed in blood lipids, and I did not have blood work done at that time, so I didn't have any to compare that, including a 10% drop in total cholesterol and 34% drop in triglycerides. And that is actually an amazing thing for those of us who encounter people who are not feeling healthy or know their blood work. It's amazing what Shaklee protein can do just in those biomarkers. Additionally, no significant adverse events were noted by participants over the 12 weeks, and there were no significant changes in markers of renal and liver function or blood chemistries. These findings appear to support recent scientific evidence, which suggests that consumption of additional leucine during a weight loss diet spares lean tissue. And that's exactly the magic ingredient in our program. And I talk about it all the time now with people who are interested in having additional support for their weight management system. This trial also provides preliminary evidence that adheres to a novel weight loss program for 12 weeks, resulted in effective weight loss and improvements in body measurements. I just thought it was perfect, and how fortunate for me that I just followed exactly, the results for me were exactly like the study. One of the things that totally surprised me, and I just alluded to it at the beginning of my comments, is that I really did try to have an apple for lunch. So I was restricting my calories, trying to eat healthy, and I wasn't able to lose weight. So on the Shaklee 180 program, I was actually eating more than I had ever really eaten before, and discovered through things like you alluded to, Janet, where we listen to tapes and hear speakers and go to conventions, that when you're restricting your food intake, our bodies are really smart. And they decide that there's possible danger ahead, and we better just watch out. We better hang on to as much fat as we can because this guy's cutting back. And wonder of wonders, when you feed the cells properly, and just like Dr. Shaklee says, when everything is in balance, the system gets happy and fat can go away, leucine can do its job, and you can lose weight in inches all at the same time. So it's a win-win situation for anybody who's been discouraged about the yo-yo dieting side of things, because to this day, my typical breakfast is a Shaklee smoothie of whatever kind or flavor in the morning. And when for some reason I don't do that, I really can't tell a difference. So I highly recommend it, and you should too, to all your friends.
So Jay, how many pounds did you lose?
15.
15 pounds. And how many years ago was that?
Ooh, 2000,
Probably 2009. So
probably 10.
yeah.
Because it
9 or
was,
10.
yeah, 9 or 10. Right.
But you've kept it off for 8 or 9 years. And that's the thing that's so amazing about this weight loss.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Right.
cool.
And it's made him so attractive that when he speaks, he draws a crowd.
I have an audience.
Yeah, we got the cat on my lap now, and the dog's at
The
his
dog
feet.
is sleeping by our feet. So
Very alert audience, right?
Could
family.
Jay, could you tell a little bit why you decided to build a Shackley business?
Sure. When we were introduced to Shackley, we have been self-employed most of our lives and have enjoyed a family business and its benefits. And at the same time that our other family business was, income-wise and opportunity-wise, was kind of diminishing, we were really in need of something where we didn't go out looking like some people do for something else, but we really believed that it was a gift that Marianne's newsletter appeared on our island and led to an understanding of what happened with PJ, which led to purchase of products, which led to health turnaround, and other people observing that, which led to becoming a director relatively quickly. And so it wasn't something we intentionally did, but we are really grateful. We really believe it's God's providence. And I often encounter people younger than me. It seems like all the time everybody's younger than me.
They're getting younger.
And if it's appropriate, I will inevitably say to someone, I wish when I was your age, someone would have told me about the dynamics and the ability to have income, residual income, or have an income through network marketing. I wish I'd have known about that and pursued that. And these,
In all fairness, Marion did, but we weren't hearing it. Just for the record.
but yeah, that's a good point. So just as a current nugget, I went to the shelf before we got on, and there is a book that has a page in it. The book is called Eliminate Your Retirement Gap, and it was by Kathy Minsky. And there's a page in here that has a chart. And if, obviously you can't see it, but I will just, if you had a monthly amount that you wanted to have as an income for whatever reason, whether it's full-time or just a supplemental, there is a chart that tells you at what rate the amount of capital that you would have to get that amount of money. So I'm just going to read you an example. If we wanted to have 5,000, no, I'll keep it at 3,000 because that's $3,000 a month income, like we have with Shackley. At a 5% rate, I would have to have $720,000 in the bank to be able to draw that amount of money off. And so if you don't have the ability to put away that kind of money over your time, your lifetime, and rates are all different levels. I saw in the bank, they were touting 2% in a beautiful flyer when I made a deposit. And if 2% were the rate, I would have to have $1.8 million. So that is one of the reasons why I'm really grateful for the Shackley business. It has all kinds of benefits, friendship, tax benefits. But I think the Shackley family and the positive experience of being a people of like mind can't be beat.
Am I muted?
Nope.
No.
Okay. I was just going to say that I remember, Roland has always taught us to listen, hear what people are saying. And so Jay was here to pick up product for Linda or himself or somebody one day. And he looked at me and he says, and he was right at the corner of my office door. And he put up his fingers and he says, "Can you make any money at this?" And I says, "Oh yeah, a little bit, you know." And I didn't say another word, but it wasn't long until we were together. I don't remember how long now, but you know, this is how my business was built, was trying to keep my mouth shut. You know, in other words, what's his name? Pat Worley said years ago, let them empty their bucket and then you can talk, but let them empty their bucket first. And then you can ask questions, you can speak, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, that's kind of what happened with Jay and Linda. And of course, they got results of the products and realized that they couldn't live without the products and all that stuff. And, you know, from here to now. And I want to say congratulations to Linda and Jay as new senior directors. I think their rank is something else. I'm not sure. But anyhow, and congratulations to Renee. We're so happy to have people join the family and continue to grow and continue to help people. So congrats to all of you.
Thank you, and congratulations to you too. That's one more in your one more feather in your cap.